Fans of gothic horror are raving about the first season of Wednesday, and rightly so. The series has taken Netflix by storm, and audiences have warmly embraced the return of the only Addams family daughter, Wednesday Addams. The season is fast-paced and jam-packed with action, fantasy creatures, magic, and much more. With most people binge-watching this gothic horror murder mystery, people have been left wanting for more, and the main question on the minds of fans is, will there be a second season of the show? If yes, what will the plot revolve around? Well, fear not, we're here to tell you everything we know, so keep on watching. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin.
Tyler, son, is that really you?
Was the mystery of Season 1 solved in the end? The series follows the dreadful Wednesday Addams, played by Jenna Ortega, a gothic high schooler whose history of torturous behavior has managed to land her at Nevermore Academy, much to her displeasure. Her journey in Nevermore Academy is the subject of the Netflix series Wednesday, which was inspired by Tim Burton and developed for television by Miles Miller and Alfred Gaug. She makes it very clear at the outset that she does not want to attend Nevermore Academy like her parents Gomez and Morticia did in their youth. Further, she also absolutely hates her court-mandated therapy sessions with Dr. Valerie Kenbut. The cherry on top of the gloomy cake is that Wednesday shares a room with a vibrant, optimistic, and social media-obsessed Enid Sinclair. At least, she has Thing, her five-fingered companion, her cello, and her typewriter to get her through this nightmare. However, what she was not prepared for was a literal murder mystery unfolding at her new school, with students turning up dead every few days and a hideous monster stalking the area. Of course, Wednesday is based on the Addams Family, the well-known fictional family created by cartoonist Charles Addams in 1938. Wednesday as a character has been around for a very long time. However, this show is not about the Addams Family as a whole. As the name implies, the show centers on our titular adolescent. Soon after relocating to Nevermore, Wednesday discovers she has psychic abilities and starts to get disturbing visions of executions and other violent crimes taking place nearby. As the season goes on, Wednesday becomes more and more determined to solve the mystery, find a monster, and, as if she doesn't already have a lot to deal with, clear her family's reputation in the death of Garrett Gates, a normie who was infatuated with Morticia and once tried to poison Nevermore's entire student body during the time that Gomez and Morticia were pupils there. More sinister is the fact that the Gates family was descended from Joseph Crackstone, the hateful founder of Jericho, who despised all outcasts. The Gates family line was thought to have come to an end when Laurel, Garrett's younger sister, allegedly drowned abroad years ago. However, with constant attacks on the students and weird happenings all around, shocking revelations came to light at the end of the season. First and foremost, the mysterious monster was unveiled at the end of the season. The second last episode of the mystery series really gets the plot moving when Uncle Fester shows up. He recognizes the monster as a creature called a Hyde right away and directs Wednesday to the late Nathaniel Faulkner, the founder of Nevermore, whose diary was concealed in a vault in the secretive Nightshade's library at her school. According to Faulkner's research, Wednesday must also find the killer monster's master, since Hydes do not function alone. In fact, Hydes were so destructive and murderous that they were banned from Nevermore. Even the outcasts didn't want to claim them. Her mistrust of psychic peer Xavier Thorpe, who she has known since day one, became considerably heightened by all this information. He has undoubtedly supported Wednesday from the beginning, but he has also pretty conveniently been around whenever the creature strikes. He also appears to be involved in a dubious covert relationship with Dr. Kinbot. She also loses trust in Principal Weems, since she finds out that Weems knew that the creature was a Hyde all along but refused to inform the students. While she did it to keep everyone safe, it made her complicit in the scenario. However, the real shock came when, in the last episode, after getting poor Xavier arrested for being the Hyde, Wednesday finally realized that it was Tyler all along. The boy that had taken her on cute little dates and gained her trust was actually the monster. In fact, he seemed menacing when he spoke to Wednesday, clearly aware of his murderous and horrifying actions, and rather proud of the havoc he had caused. Thus, the monster was unmasked, and it turns out that Tyler's mother, the sheriff's lost wife, was an outcast, a Hyde. Thus, the sheriff was constantly protective of his son, since he lived with the fear that one day his son would transform into the monstrous creature and there would be no way of bringing him back. coming to the business of the Master, who was controlling the monster behind the scenes. With Dr. Kinbut getting killed at the end of the season, there was only one possible suspect, bubbly and cheerful red-headed Professor Thornhill. And well, the last episode confirmed that the true Laurel was actually Thornhill, not Kinbut, and that she had utilized a plant-based drug to convert Tyler into a Hyde and then win him over to her cause so she could use him for her own evil scheme. Last but not least, when Eugene finally wakes up after being attacked and hospitalized and tells Wednesday that he recalls someone setting fire to Hyde's cave wearing red-colored boots, which Wednesday immediately identifies as Thornhill's characteristic footwear, she cracks the case. Weems joins forces with Wednesday and transforms into Tyler to get to the bottom of the mystery. The disclosure that it was Weems and not Tyler in the room with them as Thornhill proudly disclosed her horrific plans for Nevermore to Wednesday confirmed it all. Thornhill praises Joseph Crackstone as a visionary devoted to safeguarding normies from outsiders. That is until Goody Adams cut his life short. All of this makes sense when it is revealed that Thornhill's ancestry dates back to the genocidal Joseph Crackstone. What she hated even more was that Nevermore Academy was then constructed on his estate. Thornhill had thus committed her life using supernatural means to the cause of Crackstone. That explains why the Hyde chopped off and collected various body parts from his victims. They intended to use blood magic to revive Crackstone and exterminate the outcasts once and for all. Thornhill even possessed the genuine Book of Shadows from Pilgrim World that Goody had used all those centuries ago, and she intended to use it to perform the rite of revival. She then killed Principal Weems using a poison and knocked Wednesday out cold. Once Wednesday woke up, Thornhill used Wednesday's blood to kickstart the magic ritual and successfully resurrected the maniacal Joseph Crackstone, who then went on a murderous rampage within the walls of Nevermore Academy. However, before letting fire rain onto the school, he fatally stabs Wednesday and leaves her to bleed out in his crypt. However, her ancestors come to her rescue, and Wednesday sees Goody, who takes the knife out and proceeds to heal her. Goody unites with Wednesday using Wednesday's powers and her necklace. After regaining consciousness, Wednesday runs off to save the day and confronts Tyler in the woods, while the rest of the students attempt to battle Joseph Crackstone. The timid and bubble Enid comes in clutch here as she finally transforms into her wolf form and takes on Tyler the Hyde, successfully defeating him. This allows Wednesday to return to the school and face Crackstone head-on. She successfully defeats the murdering pilgrim and saves the school. Thus, with many unanswered questions, the season comes to an oddly gratifying conclusion. In the very end, Wednesday receives a phone from Xavier as a thank you for saving his life and assisting him in establishing his innocence. At the same time, Tyler is restrained and transported somewhere unknown in an armed car. But just before the credits start to roll, a bizarre message from an unidentified contact flashes on Wednesday's phone, sending photographs of her and threatening to harm her. Tyler also starts to revert to his Hyde form once more in the passing armored vehicle. Were Tyler and Laurel Gates merely pieces in a larger game? Will the stalker of today become their enemy tomorrow? Our protagonist is left with many questions as she is driven home for the semester break. Although Wednesday's book may be done, her terrifying adventures may have only just begun.
Goody, you are the raven in my bloodline. Wednesday. I was told you could teach me how to control my ability.
Is there going to be a season 2? Unlike many previous Netflix programs, the show is not intended to be a one-off limited series. Instead, there are already plans for additional seasons. It is presently ranked number 1 on Netflix, but things being planned do not necessarily mean that subsequent seasons will be made. As Netflix has not yet decided to renew Wednesday for a second season, there's currently no official announcement or guarantee that Wednesday will return for season 2, given that it was only recently been released. Netflix frequently delays in announcing the renewal of some shows. Still, if Wednesday's viewership figures are solid, it appears to be good news for viewers expecting to see Jenna return as our beloved enigmatic and quirky goth icon. Given its relatively strong ratings from critics and viewers, as well as its performance on Netflix's charts of viewing hours, it would appear that Wednesday would have a greater chance than most of receiving a second season. It may not have the lowest budget ever, but it also isn't a massive sci-fi or fantasy epic with a lot of expensive CGI. Further, we think that Netflix is aware of the need to maintain connections with both established talents like Tim Burton and upcoming talent like Jenna Ortega. so it has a decent chance of a second season being greenlit, which may be why the showrunners are already discussing the future possibilities for the series. While the possibility exists, the conclusion of season 1 leaves several open-minded issues and loose ends. There's no way they'd just give up a second season if there wasn't a clear confusion, right? Fans are eagerly waiting for a second season. Showrunners have had a lot to say about the possible seconds lately, and here is what we know. Where is the plot going to take us? There has been a lot of speculation about the plotline of the second season, and here is what co-showrunner Miles Miller had to say to TV Line about Season 2. He believes that they have only scratched the surface in terms of the characters, and that there is still a great more to uncover and explore. The show is also dependent on the bond between Wednesday and Morticia, and Season 2 may provide further evidence of Wednesday's attempt to carve out a life for herself apart from the family. And he continued by saying that although while this might not be a whole Addams Family series like the original was, the intention is to include the family at least in some episodes, similar to how they did with Season 1. With the addition of new members, the family will likely grow beyond what we saw in Season 1. Gwendolyn Christie has also hinted at her likely coming back for a second season, so hopes for a return are high. As far as integral plot details are concerned, a major question that will most likely be addressed in the second season is the identity of Wednesday's mysterious stalker. The show will obviously focus on the threats she may or may not receive from this stalker and what their motivations for stalking her are. However, that is not the only possible story arc. At the very end of the first season, we see Tyler change into his Hyde form, and this time around far away from his master. Who knows what shenanigans he will get up to. It will definitely be interesting to see if he turns a positive leaf or continues down his psychopathic route of relishing the murders he happily commits. His major betrayal definitely left a bad taste in Wednesday's mouth, so there is a chance for either reconciliation or further antagonism between the two. Talking about the boys in Wednesday's life, we are likely to see a romance blossom between Xavier and Wednesday. There seems to be a spark between the two, especially after Xavier gifted her a phone with his number on it. It will be super cute to see them together and hopefully fight off whatever evil comes their way as a team. Further, there is also the question of Marilyn Thornhill, once known as Laurel Gates. What happened to her and where did she go? We're aware that she is still alive and fans did not see the cops detain her or anything of that sort. She either escaped or was detained. In any case, she'll undoubtedly reappear on Wednesday to get revenge for what happened at the end of Season 1. If she doesn't, maybe her thirst for revenge wasn't all that intense. Additionally, we learned that Bianca fled her home because her mother is married to a cult leader who intends to utilize their siren abilities to recruit new followers. The cult poses as a self-help program, but its true goal is to defraud people of their money. The episode made an ominous mention of this cult named Morning Songs on a few occasions. In order to bolster their collective siren persuasion, Bianca was forced into joining them by her mother. In the first season, Bianca successfully appeals to her mother to permit her to complete the school year first. Although this plotline only appears in one episode, this is such a big story point that we can expect to see it again in a potential Season 2. You can't just bring up a cult that poses as a self-help software and then ignore it. There is obvious opportunity and potential to make them the Season 2's primary enemy. In fact, in the last episode, Bianca makes it sound like she is returning for another school year, so a cult situation is bound to crop up. There are also questions regarding the powers of Gomez Addams. What makes him an outcast? We already know that Morticia has visions and is a dove, someone who gets positive visions. However, Gomez's power is never once mentioned in the season. Hence, there are many loose ends that give lots of story arcs and narratives for Season 2 to explore. We can only wait and see what the showrunners make of it. Release date. Of course, Season 2 must get the green light first, and if we factor in the scheduling of the key cast members, filming, post-production, and everything else in between, the release date of the second season of the show is probably going to be sometime in 2024. It's challenging to tell for sure because nothing has been confirmed, which also means that no filming or production has begun. It took 8 months for Season 1 of the show to appear on Netflix according to the production schedule, which shows that filming in Romania started in September 2021 and ended in March 2022. do. So stay tuned for any announcements and we will bring them to you as when we know for sure. The show has been doing exceptionally well on Netflix for the last week and the ratings continue to climb. It is a brilliantly made show, and with Tim Burton serving as executive producer and even a director, it is not a surprise that both gothic and comedic elements have been expertly balanced. Have you watched Wednesday yet? Tell us in the comments section below. And if you like the content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.
Stalker become tomorrow's nemesis.